It takes great strength to learn from the toughest experiences of our lives and move on. We begin in Silver Spring, Maryland, on the morning of June 28th, 1994, when Jim Conti and 3 co-workers were called out to replace 2 large storefront windows.
Piece of suction cup. What we wanted to do was get the large pieces that were hanging down dismantled and out so that they wouldn't come down like a guillotine. Glass is not prejudiced. It doesn't have a conscience. It'll cut anybody in anywhere, anytime, any place. You got to be careful. All right, we're going to score this piece over here. You ready, Mike? Yeah. Right. Good, release your cup. You might not do a bunch of stuff outside of the shop together, but while you're there, you're all like a close-knit family. Release that piece over there. I've been at the same shop that Dan's been at for over 1.5 years. You're Dan? He's the great guy. He's always kidding and joking around with you. He'd do anything for anybody. Next victim. Take this one out. How you want to do this, Mike? The second piece of glass, it was all in one piece except for a square-foot area down on the bottom left corner. Silicone, he'll undo the screws. It looked to us like, you know, we can take this down in one piece. It'll save us some time.
Roger Teeter was also working on the 4-man crew.
When you're taking a piece of glass out that size, anything can happen. It could injure you seriously, or it could kill you.
All right. You guys ready?
When a work crew was removing a broken 5-by-9-foot sheet of plate glass from a storefront window, it shattered, sending glass crashing down on them.
When I turned to look, I heard Dan screaming, "I'm cut. Oh my God, I'm cut." The blood was gushing out of his arm, literally shooting 10, 15 feet everywhere. Hurry up, Dan. I was literally squeezing that artery that's underneath the arm closed to try to hold off from him bleeding out.
Fire and rescue.
We need an ambulance here right now.
What's the problem?
A guy got cut. We were taking a piece of glass out, and it broke and fell down on him.
He was literally cut to the bone. It's the first time I've ever seen anything like that, and it really scared me. Relax. I looked at him. I said, "Dan, promise me you won't look." Promise me you won't. I figured if he was going to look, his heart was going to start pounding even more for fear of seeing what has happened to him.
Okay, what have you done to help stop the bleeding? Anything?
I think they're trying to wrap a tourniquet on it.
Okay, don't have them put a tourniquet, but see if they can take a clean cloth and press it up against where he's cut to slow the bleeding down, okay?
I just hope he lived. He wouldn't bleed to death.
You got a rag? I hollered for some rags. And a bystander took the T-shirt right off his back and then threw it down. And I squeezed off the artery and held it with the T-shirt.
Right. Hold it right here? Yes, hold it close. Don't look, Dan. Promise me not to look. You'll be all right.
He started really sweating bad and turning white from lack of blood.
You're all right. Just put pressure on it. Just hold your arm closed there.
He reached up with his left arm and put it around me and pulled me down. He said, "Jim, tell my wife I love her."
You're right. Don't do this, Timmy. You'll be all right.
That just struck a nerve right down into the heart.
Relax.
That made me think, this man knows that he's dying. And here he is in my hands. Help's on the way.
I think somebody called.
You gotta hold his arm.
It almost takes everything in you out of you, but it also, at the same time, almost locks your hands tighter around where the artery is.
It's moving everything around too much.
You're not gonna let him go. You're not gonna let it happen.
The Montgomery County Fire Department arrived within a few minutes, including EMT Tracy Parker.
We get there, and it is very obvious that the artery had been severed. And there's just blood everywhere. It looks like someone's been shot.
Hang on.
I was thinking there's a good possibility he could die.
As soon as the advanced life support unit arrived, paramedic Mike Quinlan took over Dan's care.
What do we got?
His blood pressure was bottoming out. He was pretty close to severe shock.
Okay, go ahead and inflate the mask, trousers. Get ready to transport. I'll call MedStar.
With an injury of that severity and that close to the heart and to the brain, we're talking minutes.
Okay, come back. I was wondering whether somebody was going to take over my spot, but I think they were all convinced that I had the ideal hold onto his arm and to close off the artery that they didn't want me to let go.
In this rare situation, we had an individual who had initiated treatment, was doing it properly, and was making a difference for the outcome of this patient.
He's breathing pretty erratic, and he's looking really pale, and he was still bleeding out. The medic had already put a full bag IV in him, and we're starting another one already, and the fluid was just running through him.
At Washington Hospital Center, Dan was admitted under the care of surgeon Doreen DePasquale.
The plate glass had gone through all the muscle, tendons, nerves, arteries, everything, and stopped at bone.
1, 2, 3.
He was in danger of his life as well as losing the limb.
Dan's wife, Diane, was notified, but had no word on his condition.
Driving myself to the hospital, I tried to stay calm. It's just, God, I hope he's alive when I get there. I waited and waited and waited and waited. I was about ready to fall apart because I'd just been trying to stay calm for so long. They took me to where he was.
Hi, honey. How you doing?
He was completely wrapped in blankets because he'd lost so much blood. He was very cold. He looked terrible, but it was an incredible relief to see him.
In a little while, and I'll meet you there, okay?
He was alive, and it was like the weight of the world was lifted off my shoulders.
In the 2 months since the accident, 38-year-old Dan Northrup has been working to regain the use of his right arm and hand with the help of occupational therapist Joyce Yeary.
He was unable to straighten the wrist, the fingers, or the thumb, or to turn his forearm in a palms-up direction. Those muscles are not working at this point, but there is the hope that the nerve will grow back and those muscles will be able to function again. That's a good amount of time to wear it, and then you can wear your other splints to help stretch the thumb out. Are you still
What I have to do is massage my hands and work my fingers in order for the healing process to take hold. I pick little things up off the table and stuff like that, and that's basically all I can do right now.
Wow, so watch it. Good. Great.
The steps that he makes are little steps. If he moves a finger a little bit further than he could the day before, it's a big accomplishment. We'll take whatever we can get. We hope for the best, but we're glad for every little improvement.
Come here, come here. In the years past, I've probably taken family and friends for granted. And now that this has happened, they're the most important thing. It's been a great help to keep me with a positive attitude and everything.
Dan is expected to fully recover and return to work at the glass company.
We have so many people to thank. Jim and the other guys that were there when the accident happened. I can't begin to thank them enough. Because of them, I have a husband still. Our kids have a dad. Oh. I don't know what we'd have done without everybody.
Next.
911, can I help you?
Somebody's got to get here.